Hey, and we are live. Welcome to the Ask Willie and Eugene Business Show.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Today we have decided not to interview someone, but to help you guys on your businesses. So today we're going to talk a bit about strategy and what strategy means for your business and how to implement strategy. A lot of us talk about strategy and we say, what is your business strategy? But we don't actually know what the meaning of strategy is.
A lot of people that I speak to, they say, I would ask them, what's their strategy? They would say to me, I'm hoping that maybe they are not going to close down or put us on lockdown again or something like that. So I always say to them, that hope's not the strategy.
Yeah, I hope
the hope's not a strategy. So it's just I hear that quite often.
So yeah, we're going to chat a bit today about strategy and especially technology. I think technology is moving at a rapid pace. I had an interview this morning, or I watched the interview of Roger Hamilton this morning, and he was saying about 5.0 and how that's going to change businesses. Now business is going to change to have to adopt technology. We are moving towards this era where previously we had to move out. So it was multi-people, multiple connections. We wanted to be in big groups, etc. Where it's now coming closer again. People want to interact. They want to have a small group of people where they actually know people. So all these things are changing. Some of the other consumer behavior that's changing is because of lockdown, people now want to shop online. They don't want to leave their house anymore. They don't want to go out. And that's not going to go away. That's a new consumer behavior that's coming in. So how are we going to adopt our businesses to be able to incorporate this? And especially
quite interesting, Eugene, on the consumer behavior. So was it last week Eugene spoke at an event, and one of the speakers actually showed us some statistics about Uber and how Uber was how their revenue was affected by this by the COVID, their hail riding revenue, and how they kind of transitioned into the delivery of food. And he was kind of explaining to us, so when this is over, the revenue for the ride hailing will probably go up again, and probably more than now, because a lot of people won't have their own vehicles because they couldn't afford them. And it is very unlikely that the second revenue line, which was the food delivery business, would actually go back down again, simply because people are now so used to purchasing online that going forward, and I think we've seen quite a lot of things in this lockdown where we can look at the figures, look at Amazon, look at Takealot for that matter, Shopify, look at
Amazon.
Look at Amazon. Look at the way that deliveries has improved. We've seen before this, we kind of lagged a bit behind the world. Amazon Prime in the UK and the US, if you belong to the Amazon Prime group. Eugene, I think you mentioned you've got a friend in the US which literally buys like toothpicks online. So that's something which wasn't possible, simply because of our infrastructure. But what we're seeing is, I've got some clients that's got online businesses, and just the rate at which the delivery guys has increased their service delivery due to the volumes they needed to handle. It's just amazing, and I think it's something to look out for, and that's just going to become more and more.
And as George is saying, hey, Ayanda,
exactly.
I haven't seen Ayanda. Is this your first time you're joining our business show? Just pop it in the comments. I haven't seen you before. So, guys, today's session is going to be interactive. If you have a pen and paper with you, keep a pen and paper. We're going to ask some cool questions that we want you to think about in your business. So myself and Willie is going to chat through this stuff and then actually make notes so that you can apply it. So I listen to I've got a morning ritual that I follow. I don't know, do you guys have a morning ritual, like a specific thing that you follow? It makes a really big impact in my life, and I can literally feel the days that I don't do it. So mine, I've got a bit off the bulletproof coffee, because bulletproof coffee is like a chunk of butter that you have to put in. and I went for a cholesterol test. It wasn't favorable. So I've laid off the bulletproof coffee for the bit. One of my big rituals is every morning I listen to a specific motivational speaker. So at the event that I spoke about, I had some statistics. And one of the statistics is that if you watch 5 minutes of news, it increases your chances of having a negative day by 27%. Everything in the day will be negative, etc., etc. The same applies to positivity. If you listen to 5 minutes of positive affirmations, you already put your frame of mind into that process of thinking positive. So, oggendroutine 3 ure. What's your 3-hour morning routine, Raina? And like George is saying, the 60 minutes or 60 minutes of Checkers delivery. You can order stuff on Checkers now, and within 60 minutes they deliver. So they're adopting what used to be this retail chain where you have to go in store and buy stuff, now adopting deliveries. And they're innovating by doing it in 60 minutes. So the same for your business. We look at these guys innovating their businesses. What are we doing to innovate our businesses? And especially this work from home. If I think that there's 3 or 4 of my employees that's working out from my house, the rest of the guys are all working from home. They're operating remotely. Now, if you start employing people next year, how is that going to affect your business? How do you set up your structures to allow them to be able to work remotely? Sorry, Willie, your sound is off.
I think what this has proven to us is that we can completely rethink our businesses. I had a meeting with the QuickBooks guys yesterday, and the local guys, they're quite a big company. And they've literally kind of decided that they're not going back to the offices at all. And they're literally running like that. And I know my wife used to work for Standard Bank. They've got colleagues. They've literally not been to a branch this whole year. They've been working from home. And I think this is something that is quite strange to a lot of the guys, which I think will that listens to our show and comes to our mastermind and things like that. But I think if you think a bit out of the box, that's something which can most definitely be done. I myself has decided that I want to set up like a deconstructed accounting firm, if I may call it that. So the people that works for me I've been fortunate. So I've been working like this for a very long time. But I think from a financial perspective and a strategy perspective, one of the things that I see quite often, the 2 largest expenses, especially for a services company, would be salaries and rental for premises.
Yep.
And by just cutting out that rental premises and actually speaking to your guys, a lot of people, if you want to, we've seen a lot of businesses struggle this year in terms of financial struggles. A lot of employees don't necessarily want a monetary or a money increase or something like that. By making suggestions like you can now work from home permanently, the joy those people get just from not being able to sit in the traffic for 2 hours is massive. So I mean, that's definitely something that guys can work on from a strategy perspective.
So I speak about this quite a bit, and I'm going to speak about it again. And if you catch yourself saying, I know that, go and look, is your life illustrating that? Are you busy applying that in your own life? And if you're not, then you don't know it. And you've got the understanding of the knowledge, but knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. So actually applying the stuff, that is what's important. So there's 2 points of procrastination. One is we don't know where we're going to. The next part is we don't know where to start on that particular goal. So we set a goal, for example, I want to make a lot of money. Firstly, it's not specific. I don't know if you guys know SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and must have a time frame. So just saying I want to make a lot of money isn't the case. So myself and Willie have goals for ourselves that we've set for the businesses, and it's specific with a time frame. what is the income that we want to generate for the business? What is the income that we want to generate for ourselves? By when do we want to have that? If I tell you go out and make 1,000 Rand in the next week, and if I tell you go out and make 1 million Rand in the next month, it's not a different type of thought process. So you still have to go through the same activities. The only thing is we agree that the strategy that you're going to use to make 1,000 Rand and the strategy that you're going to use to make 1 million is different. It's still a strategy. There's still activities that needs to be in place. If you want to make 1 million, you probably have to partner with someone. If you want to make 1,000, you can probably go out and sell something. So what is the difference between the strategy of making 1,000 and what's the strategy of making 1 million? Now, it also has to be attainable. So we will only ever generate the amount of income as what our personal worth is. So it's called your money blueprint. If your money blueprint is at a specific level, let's say argument, you think that you are worth, whoa, Billy got kicked out. Let's say, for example, you are worth, or you feel that you are worth 50,000 Rand a month. You won't ever earn more than that. Even if you set yourself goals to earn more than that, you won't earn more than 50,000 because your inner belief system, your inner money blueprint say that you are only worth 50,000. So what do you have to do to increase your money blueprint? Sonia, what is the stats on productivity for employees working from home? I heard 2 different reports.
Can I answer that one? It depends on who you employ. So if you, I mean, honestly, I mean, Eugene, we've been through this. So we often talk about the A players, B players, and C players. And here's that book that you gave me, the 5 competencies. And if you employ the right people, it's not going to be a problem. So you are most definitely right. So some people cannot work from home, and that's the reality. But maybe then those people are not the people for you.
Yeah. So we've got certain guys in our business that operate from home like machines. Their productivity has increased by 30-40%. Then we've got other people that go home and the next day they haven't done anything that they were supposed to do. Their productivity dropped by 50 or 60%. So I think it varies from person to person. So coming back to that money blueprint, as I mentioned, I want this to be an interactive session today, and I want you guys to learn, and I want you guys to take something away from this. So everyone, this is for everyone. What is the goal that you're setting for yourself for end of January? So type in the comments or write it down. You don't have to answer it now through the session. Just type my goal and then put in what is your goal. So what is your goal that you want to achieve by end of January? Willie,
before we carry on, so you've been talking about SMART goals and you're wanting to write it down. Why is it so important to actually physically go and write down that goal and not, because I speak to a lot of guys and they just say, yeah, I've got this goal. Why is it so important to actually write it down?
Yeah, so there's multiple reasons for that. One is knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. So that's the first part. The second part is we are the same as our clients. So our clients needs to see something 5, 7, 10 times before they actually act on it, before they actually purchase something. We are the same. We need to see the same thing multiple times before we do it. You don't wake up one morning and say, oh, I feel like jogging. I'm going to put on my shoes and jog. You first think about it the day before. And then the next day you start working out this plan. And then the day after, and then you start setting a goal. Okay, next week, Monday, I'm going to start jogging. Okay, where am I going to jog? So it's multiple iterations. I think the part that's the most important for me is that in your head, you think you've got it figured out. And then when you start writing it down, then you realize there's all these gaps in between.
Yep.
So when you start writing it down, for example, I want to exercise. So my goal is I want to exercise. Okay, go and write it down. When you start writing it down and you realize I only wrote, I want to exercise. Okay, that's not going to happen. What exercise do I want to do? When do I want to do it? How often do I want to do it? Who am I going to do it with? Who's going to keep me accountable? The other thing about writing it down is now you see it
Yep.
So you kind of feel that you're accountable to that.
And I think there's a statistic which states that that someone that writes down their goal versus someone that doesn't write down their goal is something like 10 times more likely to actually to achieve that goal. Yeah, it's quite interesting fact that. And the other thing that I've seen myself is what I do quite often. While a lot of people go and they set goals, number one, they don't set SMART goals. But the second thing is they go set such a big goal that it becomes so hairy that they don't actually achieve that. And there's something what I've realized and learned is we often go and say, and I'm going through the same process now. I mean, I sent you a voice message earlier this week. I think it was Monday, and I kind of had this, I've got this struggle inside of me, and I don't really know where I want to go, and I send you a voice message, and on the voice message, I said to you blatantly, I said, I want to be a dollar millionaire in 5 years' time. Now, that's not really a goal. If you think about it, that's a dream. You now need to go sit and look at that 15 million or 17 million wealth growth goal, and you now need to go and sit and chunk it down to smaller bite sizes. I think Vera, you're on the call, you mentioned it earlier this week. It's how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. And you chunk it down, and what I've seen is when I started doing that, I didn't always achieve those goals, but I maybe achieved 80% of those goals, where someone had the exact same goal did nothing. They literally did nothing. So I kind of, just by applying consistency and working on those little goals, managed to achieve 80% of my big dreams. And it's worked for me quite well. And I think, Eugene, that thing where you said write it down, when you start writing this down, you can start seeing actually how it works. And I mean, I want to show you guys something. I use this, Eugene, you've also got one.
Yeah.
It's got like a year planner and stuff like that. It's clean now because the year's ended. But you end up writing down your goals like so. But then you also need to set yourself milestones. And the milestones, the roadmap. Here we go. So you get your 3 top goals, and then you roadmap them into a 13-week process to achieve that goal. And that's what I'm talking about. Chunk it down to bite sizes so that you can actually achieve it. And if you don't be so hard on you if you don't achieve it 100%. I kid you not, another person that set exactly the same goal will not have done nothing because the goal was too big. And that for me, once I started doing that, say again?
It needs to be attainable.
Needs to be attainable, the SMART goal. And those attainable portion is those little bite-sized things.
Yeah. So really, before we go on, I just want to mention something about our Digital Academy Bootcamp for the guys that has signed up. We're just waiting for a few more guys to sign up. That said they'll sign up in next week. Once everyone has signed up, we're going to create our own personal WhatsApp group just for the few of us. And on there, we'll discuss all the events, when the first week is going to start happening, what the program is going to be about, and then we'll have the week section. So there's 5 weeks of the Digital Academy Bootcamp where we're going to help you launch your business. And well done for the guys that signed up. It's going to be epic. It's really going to be cool. The stuff that you're going to discover about yourself, it's absolutely amazing. But just to let you know, everyone that signed up, we'll create that group by the end of next week. And then we'll communicate all the details of when we are going to get together with myself and Willie. And then we also spoke this morning where we said that we'll give everyone a one-on-one session with us where we're going to design your strategy for the next year, which is really powerful. I charge $5,500 for that. So it's really cool or added value that we want to give you guys as well. So I see there's a few guys that wrote down the goals. Where's the other guy? Where's the other goals?
I'm happy that George is putting his financial priorities top of the line. So many guys I speak to, and we speak to them quite often, they literally leave their finances till the last thing, until SARS knocks on their door. And it's probably one of the worst things that you can do. So yeah, if you do your strategy, definitely build in a portion there to build in your financial plan. And once you do that, you'll feel compelled to actually start measuring it. So yeah, love it,
Veronica,
George.
you're part of Mastermind group. I haven't seen you on there. But I see there's quite a few guys in Cape Town. Maybe we need to arrange a get-together in Cape Town beginning next year. Maybe that must be one of our goals, Willie, is to get down to Cape Town in January and just go have a coffee or something with all our members that's in Cape Town. Because it seems like there's getting more and more members, more guys in Cape Town than in Joburg.
Yeah.
I still need a system in place, Wave.
So, George, we're talking to QuickBooks. We're getting a lot of accountants together. Both Matilda and Mark and Rhino. Well, Rhino, you guys are on zero, but we're chatting about two QuickBooks and see what we can organize as a bulk discount for the group. But I'll definitely let you guys know once we've got those details.
Out of Cape Town. Where are you going, Rhino? But yeah, I think we definitely need to set up a get-together in Cape Town. So, cool. Let's carry on with the goal setting, guys. So, now that you have a specific goal. Oh, sorry, Pat, we first have to get Willie in on the hot seat. So, Willie, what is your goal for end of November? End of January?
Is business personal? Family?
Let's call it business. Business or personal? Doesn't matter.
So like I mentioned to you, I have actually started with my strategy and my goal setting for the following year. And I think it's a lesson for everyone to learn. There's not a better day than today to actually start off with this thing. So I'm going through a process where I need to map out the roadmap to my 5-year goal, 5-year dream. Let me rather call it that. And I'm currently analyzing my entire business. So my goal that I've set for January, there's 4 of them. So these also ties in with the growth drivers that I've set for myself. So the first one is, in order for me to grow my business to that level, I need to rethink my marketing strategy. So the first week of January, we will be implementing our brand new cash flow management sales funnel. So that's the first goal that I want to achieve. The second goal that we want to achieve is one thing that we've recognized, and the accountants in the group will relate to that. We've been setting our prices at the hourly rates, and that's costing us quite dearly, especially when SARS and things keep you busy. So one of my growth strategies is going to be to move over to a value pricing structure. So I've already acquired all the software, like I am, to build these things. So that's something which we'll be implementing, is the value pricing strategy by the end of December. And then another thing is, what was the third one?
Sorry, while you think about that, for everyone else, I think that is very important, is value pricing. How do you set up value pricing? Because we price, when we start out the business, that's fine, then we price per hour. But as we go on, we actually have to get to a value pricing. Because now we've become the expert in our field, yet we still charge the same as what someone else will charge for a normal consultant to be out. So what is the value pricing? What is the value that you get? There's this story about the guy that, what happened? He went,
the engine.
Boeing phoned him and they said, listen, we've got a dent in one of our airplanes. So he went out to the airplane. They got a bunch of quotes. The one guy was 17 million. The other guy was 14 million. And this guy came in at $1 million. So they said, just take the guy for $1 million. I mean, he's 1/10 of the price of everyone else. So he walked into Boeing and he walked into this plane and he felt around the metal of the plane and he took out this little hammer and he just whacked it, bonk, and the dent went out, and perfect. You can't even see that there's a dent. And the guys are like, what the hell? You just charged us $1 million to come and smack the plane with a hammer. It's like, we need a detailed thing of exactly why it was $1 million. He says, well, firstly, we're not happy about the fact that you just paid $1 million and saved a whole bunch of days, but we are so obsessed that someone else gets more than us that we want to get this detailed thing. So he gave them a detailed statement afterwards. He mailed it through to them. He's like, travel time, $300. Operational time, $700. Project planning, $1,000. Hitting the plane with a hammer, $250. Knowing where to hit the plane with a hammer, $950,000.
Yeah, so you're laughing, man. So during this tax season, so obviously you guys have heard of these auto assessments and stuff like that. So as soon as that happened, I said to my wife, I said, that was in March month. I said to her, look, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have a whole lot of clients giving me an email and saying that they don't need our services anymore. And I'm happy to do that because we don't really make a lot of money out of individual tax returns. And Stru's Bobs, I sent them an email and I said to them, I'm happy if you guys submit these things by your own. Just make sure that you know if they have calculated the taxes correctly. And what's happened is then these guys started contacting me and said, all of a sudden we need to pay in. I said to my wife, I told you this. And I said, I'm going to respond to these guys and said, completion of tax return, $100. Knowing how to check if it's correct, $1,500. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So that is the next period. Remember I said that we're moving into this different economy where people want closer connections. One of the things about the new economy that we're moving into is people want outcome-based compensation. They don't want to get paid anymore for 8 hours a day. They want to know, for example, I have to build a website a day. So internally, someone gets compensated for building a website a day. That's your outcome. If you figure out a system or a way to do it where you can do it in 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. Why does someone need to sit in the office all day to do it? So what is the outcome you want out of these people? The same with it from a digital marketing perspective. What is the outcome that you want from a digital marketing agent? You want this and this and this. Okay, if I deliver it, this particular outcome, does this value this amount of money? Yes, it does. So Michiel, that's for you. I see you on here as well. Michiel's got his digital marketing agency there in Cape Town. Just there's a lot of guys in Cape Town. We really need to get to Cape Town. It's not about the hours that you put in or what we talk about the benefits versus the, what's that thing, Willie?
Benefits versus features.
Features, that's it.
Yeah.
We talk about the benefits. So the features are I'm going to post on Facebook and I'm going to generate leads and I'm going to create an ad and all that sort of stuff. That's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for the outcome. What's the outcome? The outcome is that I want new customers. So you say, okay, through our campaign, we're going to set up this whole thing. You're going to have 10 new leads every week, or you're going to have 5 new customers by the end of the month. What's a customer worth to you? Customer's worth 10,000 Rand. Okay, so if I get you 5 of them and it's 50,000 Rand, I'm going to charge you 5,000 Rand, % of that.
Was it you, Eugene, but it's once again, it's a mindset thing. I think you told me the story about you were buying and selling vehicles, and this guy said to you, I want this vehicle at this amount, and you actually went out there and you found one and you managed to get like a massive discount, and at the end of the day, the guy just didn't want to enter into this deal because he felt outdone. But I mean, at the end of the day, he was going to pay that anyway. So
yeah, so I'll tell the story quick, a really cool story, and that's how people are. And that's fun. So I want you to reflect on your own life. When do you do this? And everyone does it. Every single person. I did it this morning. I'm conscious enough that I catch myself and I have to think, you know what, that's their journey. Leave them. Focus on your journey. Get back on your path. So it was only 3 or 4 minutes. Previously, it used to take me weeks to get over it. So this thing happened. One of the businesses I had is I bought and sold cars. Well, I went out and I found someone. Have you guys watched Undercover Billionaire? He also talks about it. He's like, first go and find the customer and then you go for the product. But we want to get a product and then try and find people to buy it. Reverse engineer that. First go and find the customer, and then you find the product that fits that customer. So people came to me and they said, I want this car and this car and this car. And then I went to auctions and I bought the cars and I sold it to them at a premium. So the one person came in and he said he wants a C63 AMG. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll go and find one. I'm like, what are you prepared to pay? Like, well, for this model, this mileage, etc., I'm prepared to pay 500,000 rand. So okay, cool. So I went to a specific auction and I said, okay, I found this car for you. This is the mileage. This is what it is. How much would you pay? He's like, yes, that's even better. I'll pay up to 600,000 for that. I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you for 350. The purchase price is 250. So pay over 350. I'll transfer the 250 to them and keep the 100 for myself. He said, no, he's not going to do it. I said, what do you mean you're not going to do it? I'm getting you to at half the price than what you're willing to pay for it. I could have just told you, cool, I can get it for you for 600,000. I'm being honest here and I'm opening up the deal. And he said, no, you're making 100,000 rand to go to auction and get me a car. No, I know which auction to go to. I know who the people are. I know how to buy it before it goes onto the auction. Because if this goes onto the auction, it's going to sell for 500,000. You're paying me for my intellectual property, my connections, all that sort of stuff. And he backed out of the deal. He said, I'm not paying you 100,000 rand. I'm not making you rich to get me a car. He didn't think that he's saving 300,000 rand. He just thought, no, I'm paying someone 100,000 rand. You can't get that amount of money. That's wrong. And that's the reality of it. How often do we do that? So we get sidetracked into someone else's story and someone else's journey. And we stop thinking about our own journey.
Yeah, strange thing. And I mean, quite often we see people not actually making sales because we can't communicate that value over to a client. And I mean, they often say, what do they say, Eugene? If they won't buy because they can't see the value of that. There's a saying, I can't remember what it is, but I mean, that's basically, go for it.
So people don't buy your product because there's something wrong with your product. People don't buy your product because you're not effectively communicating the value of the product and what that product is going to do to their life. Because people don't buy the product. They buy the benefit, what it's going to change in their life. So you don't go out and buy a Mercedes when you can buy an i20 that will serve the same function. You buy it because of how other people are going to perceive you. When you buy the car, the first thing you think about is, how are people going to think about me when I rock up in this car? That's your buying decision. And they know that. That's why they sell it on that. So the same with our products. It's not what the product does. It's not about learning. For example, our digital products and courses and stuff, it's not about teaching you how to market your business on Facebook. What's the benefit that you get? We're going to teach you how to build a business so that you can live the life that you really want to live. We're giving you the tools to be able to live the life that you want to live. That's what we're ultimately giving. That's the benefit. That's the outcome that we want you to have. We're not teaching you how to market on Facebook. I mean, Facebook's going to be there for now, but next year, maybe something else is up there. And the year after that, and after that, digital media falls away completely. And then we start using voice.
Yep, augmented reality.
Yeah. If you look at Amazon, how they are advertising their products. Did you guys see that there's a new thing coming out now with Amazon, the augmented reality? So you take your phone. Let's say I want to have a picture against the wall at the back here. I'll put my phone on and on video, it incorporates the video on the thing, and it shows different artwork or pieces of art. And I drag it into my camera and I move it around to where on the wall I want it. And then I can move away and forward and I can see what it will actually look like after I buy it. You can have a dress. So you stand with your phone, let's say your girlfriend or wife or whatever wants to buy a dress. You can hold the phone and then drag the dress in, and she can see what the dress would look like if she had actually had to buy it. If you want to buy a chair, you can video your thing, drag the chair in and see what your room would look like with that particular chair. How insane is that?
Facebook's actually got a company that's doing that, though. So they already do that. It's not widely publicized, but I mean, it's part of their strategy. So, but yeah, anyway.
So I just want to see what Veronica wrote here. It's quite a long message. How do you handle this? You get a client, you both agree a retainer fee, he pays a deposit of 50%. You do some work and for his business. Contact him, requiring information. You still, whatever you can, set up in the database while waiting for the requested information. He comes back after 2 weeks to say, let us put the project on hold because they don't want to make some changes in the business. Do you refund the 50% deposit? Nope. I should not. Was I wrong? No, you don't refund your deposit. You put time and effort in. So you
had an agreement beforehand, so that agreement wasn't met by the client. I've started putting surety clauses into our one-pager contract. So no.
So Mark, sales funnel, specific avatar, set goals, market strategies, personal, getting fit to do my next grading. Your next grading of what? I'm quite into the fitness stuff and grading and kickboxing and martial arts and all that sort of thing. So I really like that. So Mark, tell us a bit about that. And then, so I think we have to set a date at some point as well, really, for the Cape Town thing. We just made ourselves accountable to everyone. The next part of it is, so as I mentioned in the beginning, strategy or procrastination is two things. We firstly don't know where we're going to. And then the second step is we don't know how to get there. And we don't need to complete the whole plan to get there. That's the thing that holds us back, is we try and think of this entire plan of how to get there. And we don't need an entire plan. We just need that first step. Once we get going, then the rest will go on. So, for example, I've got a thing here. So this is something I wrote out. So you can see it's a full page that I wrote out. And all I started was with the first sentence. And this was done yesterday. I sat and I thought about, I watched this Undercover Billionaire. Go and read it. Taekwondo, very cool. So I watched this Undercover Billionaire, and he's got this really creative way of getting staff in. And I think that's a problem for all of us, is we want more staff. We want higher level people, etc., etc. We want more people to be part of our team, but we can't afford it. We can't afford to go out now and hire 10 new people. I would love to go out and hire additional 10 people. I need another 10 people in my business to execute all the things that we do with. So now it's taking us longer because we have to employ 1 or 2 people and then build up income, then employ 2 people. So one of the things was, I just wrote it down. I don't know where it was going. Creative ways to find team members. That's all I thought about. Or that's my question that I had made. Now, if we keep walking around with this without writing it down, will you ask what's the benefit of writing it down? One of the benefits, there's many, there's probably 20. So one of the other benefits is we walk around with this thing. What's a creative way of finding team members? And then that's where it stays. Then it stays in this loop. Tomorrow morning you wake up. What's a creative way of finding team members? 2 weeks later you wake up. What's a creative way of finding team members? And it doesn't go any further than that. Yep. Now you start writing it down and you end up with a page full of ideas of creative ways to find team members. Yeah, exactly.
So the last one there, by the way, it says remove myself from the business, and it says team. So, I mean, but by writing it down, I don't have to remember this anymore. So every day when I look at this thing, I kind of say, okay, to get back to my goals is I need to go and sit and write down org structure and then decide who you want to plug in where and which of your current resources you want to move around. But I mean, it's kind of getting back to that writing down stuff. Eh? So do you use SWOT analysis, Eugene?
Yeah. Is it?
Questions?
No,
and why do you use it?
If we start writing the things down, one of the biggest areas for me is firstly writing it down. Once you start writing it down, a whole different thing comes out. So for those of you who don't know SWOT analysis, do you guys know what a SWOT analysis is? I'll first let you comment and then I'll explain what it is. If everyone says yes, then I'm not going to explain it. but one of the things is about changing your weaknesses. How do you use your weaknesses to move that into a competitive advantage? So how do you make your weaknesses a competitive advantage?
And how do you make your threats? How do you what the threats you want to eliminate? That's basically how this thing.
So you change your business strategy that even if that threat becomes a reality, because it's only a perceived threat, it's not an actual threat yet. So it's only a perceived threat. So when you have that perceived threat, how do you change your business strategy so that when that threat becomes a reality, it doesn't affect your business? But if you don't sit and think about these things, the things are going to happen, and then, like we often say, you're going to get caught with your pants down. So here's the exercise. We're getting to the end of the show, guys. We've got another 5 minutes. So pop your questions if you have any other questions. To recap some of the stuff one is we need to write down our goals. Number 2 is we need to set our goals. We need to set SMART goals, not just I want to be rich. What's a specific, measurable, attainable goal?
And chunk them down.
Yeah. So the first step is write down what your goal is going to be. So next week, I want to set a challenge. Next week's our last episode, and then we're taking a production break until mid-January when we're back, because we're all going on holiday, and myself and Willie need to finish all our stuff for the boot camp. And then, so next week, I want to set a challenge. When you come onto the show, start with my goal, my first step. That's what you have to put in when you introduce yourself. What's your goal and what's your first step? So what's your goal for end of January, and what's your first step that you're going to execute in the next week or two to give yourself the best chance to get there?
Yes.
Right. So that's what I want you guys to go and think about, is what's your goal and what's the next step that you want to get there. And then I'd like to encourage, I see some of the guys are ready to do it. We've got some really clever people on the show, Willie. One of the days they're presenting it. Yeah. So it was Mark. Mark said, so my business goal is this and my personal goal is this. So the same for everyone else is we get so focused on the business that we forget about ourselves. So what is your personal goal and what's your business goal?
I have 5. I've got like spiritual goals. I have financial goals. I've got family goals. I've got social responsibility goals. And then I've got physical goals as well. I just liked it. I think a lot of guys confuse success with money. And that is probably the worst thing you can do. Is if you lack in any one of those 5 areas, if you maybe really overweight and you've got this wonderful business, at some stage you're probably going to get sick. So that's going to pull you back down. So I like it to go chunk it down in 5 areas. But I definitely agree. You have to have personal goals for everyone. Can I suggest something, guys? So there's 2 books. You decide which one you want to read. But the one is the Blue Ocean Strategy, which is a very cool book that allows you to create a strategy in a specific niche. And then all of these things can become quite overwhelming. So there's a book called The One Thing. That's kind of the one thing. Let me just quickly get that name, but we'll share it on the group. It's called The One Thing, and it basically chunks. It's chunking. So you kind of go through a process of. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. So basically,
put the 5 things on the group. Cool, we'll put it on the group, really. That the spiritual, mental, physical, etc. And then one thing. And then I think it's important for everyone to do a SWOT analysis for your business.
Extremely important.
What's your weaknesses? I'll share something about that as well. And then there was something else. You can carry on, Willie, while I'm thinking about it. There was something really cool that I thought everyone can do. It was opening with their goals and then their first step. Oh, that was the two things. So I have a business goal and I have a personal goal.
Yes.
The thing I wanted to say is, who's in Joburg? So there's this addicted to adventure that somehow really brainwashed me to get into. It's like a bike and 5K run and a 2-kilometer kayak rowing thing. It's happening this Sunday. So I'll take a few videos and a few pictures and stuff. And then I'm going to a really big event, Star Starters, on Saturday. So I'm going to get dressed up in a suit and it's what's it? Strukdas. So, and that is till late evening, and then 5:30 in the morning, go and do that addicted to adventure race. So if you guys find Joburg, pop past and come in and say hi to that. But otherwise than that, guys, I think that's the end of the show today. I hope it was fun. It was informative. We wanted to help you think about your strategy, because if there's no action, then nothing's going to change. Something of yourself needs to change before anything else is going to change. And for some of us, it was a really good year. For myself and Willie, this was an amazing year.
Extremely good year.
And stuff. So it was a really good year. And then next year, we want to make it an even better year. For the year to be better and for it to exceed 2020, 21 to exceed 2020, is we need to exceed what we did in 2020. We need to step outside of ourselves. We need to lift ourselves to the next level. And we need to have people that keeps us accountable. If there's no one that's going to keep you accountable, you're just going to do the same stuff over and over. So that saying of doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So we don't want that for you guys. We want you to be able to take action and move your business and yourself forward. So start finding people to keep you accountable. Something I would suggest is, guys, everyone that's in Cape Town, get together. Just link up with each other. Set maybe once a month where you guys go and have a cup of coffee or something like that. Let us know the dates, myself and Willie will come through. So there's the accountability. So myself and Willie said we'll come down to Cape Town. So set up everyone in Cape Town. Myself and Willie will come down for one of the meetings in Cape Town.
And one of you is going to host it.
Yeah. So we'll come through. So maybe, I don't know, is everyone in Cape Town? So I know Mike is there. I think George is in Cape Town as well. Sonia, you in Durban, eh? So everyone that's in, go and set up a meeting and maybe set the first one for like 15 January or something like that. But set the date, have a specific thing, and then set up a group and connect with each other. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we keep each other accountable, is by having that accountability partner. So the average of the 5 people. And I think in the mastermind, we've really started establishing some cool people in the mastermind. Who's not part of the mastermind that's on here? Is anyone? I think everyone's part of the mastermind. Just Veronica, I think, isn't. Otherwise, everyone else is. I'll pop up the thing in any case if you do want to join. If there isn't someone, so if you check on the right hand side, you can join the mastermind if you're not part of it yet. But guys, create that circle, and we'll do. I think myself and Willie will be accountable for the one in Joburg. The guys in Joburg, Pretoria, Joburg, Midrand, Roodepoort, anything, maybe just let us know if you'd be interested in getting together beginning next year for maybe even just a braai. Everyone can come to my house and we can have a braai at the house or something like that. Or Willie's house.
Lucky everyone.
Right.
So last show for the year. Next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for pitching up. Hope you've learned something, and support us. Share the show with anyone that you know. Our aim is to reach as many people and to change as many lives, business owner lives. At the end of the day, we've had a lot of hard lessons learned, and the purpose is for other people to learn from our mistakes. So cool guys.
Did you enjoy the show? Was it a cool show? Let us know. Give us some feedback so that we know if this type of stuff works. We just thought that. So if you enjoyed the show, just pop in the comments, yes, or no, or you guys suck, or you guys rock. No, if you think we suck, don't say anything. Our egos are much too brittle to handle that. So, but we wanted a show to actually give you guys a bit of tips and tools in your tool bag so that you have tools to execute in your life, not just a story where it inspires you, but actually a tool bag where you can get out a tool, have a SWOT analysis, or have SMART goals, or set your goals and be accountable, or whatever the case may be. Just to
I think the point you're trying to make is just do something and go write it down. If the page stays like this, then you're doing nothing. Just write down a few words at least. A lot of these things just start off by writing a couple of words, and it makes you think. That's all. This will become a whole strategy.
Great stuff, guys.
Great stuff, guys.
Love you guys. You rock.
Cool. Cheers.
That's you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.